Hey guys, my name is Mark from Jazz Guitar Lessons. Welcome to this video lesson where we're going to be breaking down how to improvise jazz lines like a professional. And this is easier than it seems, and actually here's the plan for today. I want to cover the outro to prove that it works, if it's going to work for you, of course, the problem with improv, the typical problems we encounter with students, the solution, and then I have a step-by-step process. I'm going to go in detail in the rest of this video, and then we can recap it and we're going to talk about some other stuff. All right, so let's get going. All right, so just so you're aware that this process actually works and is legit, I just want to tell you that this is a process I've used to outline changes to improvise, but also to make sure that we have this making the changes within the chord progressions of jazz. And I've used it for myself and used it successfully with hundreds of students. As proof, I'll just put a little thing here with a little bit of a snippet. This is a student submission, okay? And it's dated from last week and it's on the tune Donnelly. So let's have a listen. Right, so as you can hear on this Donnelly, the student is doing, yes, exactly the right chord scales. He's doing the right arpeggios, but also we hear the chord progressions as it goes by. So this is the kind of like 8-note jazz lines that we want to work on in this video. So let's get through the process right now. All right, let's dig in a little bit here to see if this process is actually for you. Is this for you? So you can identify yourself as being an in-betweener. This is a word I really like to use with students. If you're an in-betweener, it means you're not a beginner anymore, and you know that because you've been playing guitar for a while, and yet you don't feel that you're an intermediate improviser yet. And right now what you may be doing for your jazz improv is trying to plug and play scales in the proper place in the progressions, and yet you're still struggling to make the changes, heard, and you're struggling to make meaningful jazz lines happen. And of course, using your current approach to jazz improv, you fear that you're probably missing something, like missing a bigger piece of the puzzle of jazz improv, or you feel that maybe you're wasting your time doing this. And what you'd like to do ultimately is to have improv become second nature. So if this is you, stick around. We're going to work through the solution to this problem. And one of the things I encountered a lot from my experience on this channel and teaching students is that probably, if you're watching this, you're already well versed in soloing with blues and pentatonic scales, in a rock or blues or like funk context. So if this is you and you'd like to expand that, this is exactly who this is for. You want to expand that into the jazz vocabulary, and we will address why, in a way like that blues improv does not literally immediately translate into making the changes for jazz. Now, why are so many people struggling with jazz improv in particular? Let's define that problem. What is it that makes jazz improv that everyone has this problem? I think the main answer to this is that people are looking to plug and play scales and arpeggios, as I mentioned, to say this is a D minor chord, so it means I can do the D minor arpeggio or I can do the D Dorian scale, and people are looking in the wrong place to accomplish that improvisation sound that stems from the jazz tradition. Please bear with me, we're getting to the solution. So while we're here and we define the problem, say scales don't make the changes, arpeggios don't make the changes. It means if you just play scales and just play arpeggios in the right places, you're not going to make the changes. So what's the solution? Well, the solution in a nutshell is to make those changes. So if we were to forget about everything and focus on the one thing that all of this improv hinges on, the solution to it is to make a meaningful statement at the point of chord change. So in a nutshell, the solution is first to look at the point of chord changes, hence where, this expression, making the changes. We look at the change. There's a bar line right there. There's a chord before, there's a chord after. We have to focus all of our attention here, which is, of course, seldom done when we're only thinking about this chord or that chord in its appropriate scale. Now we look at the liminal space. What's right in between? This is like I'm going from the bathroom to the bedroom. I'm focusing on that frame. When I go from one room to the next, there's something that's going to happen. So we focus on that place. We make meaningful resolutions that are clear, that are easy to play, that are heard, and then we add meat around the bone. That's it. And I will go through step by step in this process. So let me just tell you one thing. If you focus on having resolutions, and then adding cool pickup lines into them. So people will call this the target note approach. Yeah, fine, call it whatever you want. This is how you'll be able to improvise lines like a jazz pro. So let's run through this process step by step. All right, this is where the rubber meets the road. We're at the process. What is Marc's process for doing jazz improv? What's the secret that makes this kind of video play on Donnelly and hundreds of other students that are like, oh yeah, I know the scales, I know the arpeggio, how come does I not sound jazz? And I made this black just to save the surprise. So target notes is our first one, and I'll be like super upfront and I'll give descriptions and pull up my iReel. We'll do some fun drills together, so maybe grab your guitar just now. All right, let's get going with target notes. So I have my iReel Pro here and I set up a 2-5-1 in the key of F major. So how do you get to a 2? Well, you go from F to G, count one letter name up, and then to the C, which is the 5th degree. Everyone does all of the 2-5-1s in C major on YouTube. I decided to go to F major. So what we will be doing is looking at each of these 3 chords in our first step and determining a target note. And I'll tell you, and I'll do that in big bold letters on the screen, we're going to look at the third, the 3. The 3 is the most important landing spot to develop like really good drills and reflexes to target into. So what we're going to do let's say, yay, you found something. If you've never heard this, this is the only thing you need to know to make meaningful jazz improv, okay? So we're going to determine the thirds of each. So if we want a third of a G7, we go through up 3 letter names. You count 1, 2, 3, G, A, B. If we played a B here, it would be, of course, a G, it would be a major chord. So we need a B flat. So we have the B flat as the third, and then let's move quickly to the C. So C, D, E. The E is the third, and then the F, we go F, G, A, and that's it. So we have 3 notes. Make a mental note. We have B flat, we have E, and we have A. Again, I repeat, we have B flat, we have E, and we have A. And that's all we need. So let's just see how this sounds with iReel when I play it once through, and that we have the third on beat 1 of each chord. A 1, 2, 3, 4, B flat. And that's it. All right, now that we got this out of the way, let me pull the sheet again, our plan for today. We're looking at step 1, target notes. Check your first target notes. If you want to play jazz improv like a professional musician, you have to be able to develop the thirds. Yes, there are other targets, but this is our starting point for now. Now, step 2, pickups. Ha 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 ha. We're going to spend a lot of time on this, guys, so please grab your guitar. Pickup means that my target notes remain the same right on beat 1. When I talked about the bar line, like right here, we have this note that we're playing. What's happening is, what do I play going into it? And I'll give you the secret sauce. You want to start simple, and as the simple stuff becomes really easy for you, you want to add meat around the bone, but we'll get there in a moment, all right? So what I like to do is to target each of these 3 by a half step above approach. So if we land on the B flat for this G minor 7, we will go C, B flat, all right? Land into it. And our next target note is an E, so go F, E, right? And then B flat to A. I'm going to play this twice just to show you we can have a really meaningful way to drop into each of the target chords. Here we go. A 1, 2, 3, target a B flat. 1, target a E, F, target a A. Now let's do it with an 8 note instead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4. Good. Great job. Now, of course, we started small with just that 1 note approach, and you can visualize the chord shape in your mind and get the C7. It's right here, right? Right, you got this. Ultimately, what we want to do is get the 3 8-note pickups. So that would be how we want to approach this. I have my target note. I will climb up that scale. 1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So in order to land on my B flat, I will go. Let me repeat that. Right? Then I will do the same thing with that note. When we get back to our C, we will land on that note. So I consider this the target. This is note 0. This is ground 0. So I go up, 1, 2, 3. So in order to land on my E, I want to go. Right? Now we're building a jazz line. You notice I went from. And what do we have next? We have an A. So it would be really worthwhile if you want to pause this video and like run through these lines. It's all in the key of F, but these will yield really meaningful jazz lines. Let me give you a few examples. Always visualize the chord faster. Last one as a surprise for dessert. Good job. So you might have noticed that on the last one, instead of going, I went. So if you guys know the spool note, that's a C9 with a C7 flat 9. So I use a flat 9 within my line, and this is exactly the next step. So the next step in our process here, I call it step 3, which is embellish. So there's a point where after we've set up our target notes and we have our pickups, which ideally will be 3 8-note pickups going down into our target note, we can embellish. I just did one embellishment, which was, instead of descending the scale to go to the F, to go D, C, B flat, A. Again, I'm just counting letter names, but A, B, C, D, 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 D. I did a D flat. So that's one method of embellishment. Also, another method of embellishment is, I've already done it in the first when we did the pickup notes. If we were to look coldly and just write letter names, I'm going to do this on the screen right now. So I made an octave jump without really telling it. So here we have a B flat, and I told you that we needed 3 notes to get to the E, right? So the 3 notes here are, of course, A. And going down, we're going to go G, I'm going to go F. So the surprise I did is actually that this A was actually an octave higher. I did not go B flat A, I went B flat A. So this is called an octave displacement. And this is a perfect example of an embellishment device. You can use a flat 9 on the dominant chord, for instance. You can do an octave displacement. You can do it in a different position. You can decide to ornament with a triplet or right, with a little trill. You can ascend an arpeggio and resolve the third. Like, there's all kinds of methods of doing that, but this is really the process that I teach my students. All right, and now we're going to the step 4, which is drill, 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 drill. And the whole point of this is to be able to see a sequence of chords and to immediately have the third in mind. On any standard, it could be one progression at a time. Of course, I recommend the 2-5-1 because it makes sense and it's all standards, but you can do this on several songs as well. And after you drill front and back, so I go, this is a G, or, and that you're able to land on thirds, mostly in the middle of the guitar. So that would be my main recommendation. The drilling would be, well, the third of the chord should be on the G or D string, sometimes the B, but there's a whole natural thing that happens when you start to relay the information between your chord shapes that have the roots on the 6th and on 5th, or this one. When you start to relay that information that you have the chord shape and the chord components are within the shape. So when you can visualize the fretboard chord shape while you land on your thirds, this is where your drill becomes more automatic. So you can take, for instance, the 2-5-1. One of the reasons I love working with iReal so much is that for me, switching key is one click. So I can go to C, and even if that is not enough, what I can do, there's also a practice transposition. So there's a little device here where I can go, well, every chorus is going to go up by 1/2 step. So let me just demonstrate. If we started on, I'm going to go up a fourth every time, and I'm going to do my first repeat to be in the key of F, and then the other repeats be in the key of whatever is up a fourth from that, okay? And notice I will just, to give you an example, target the third on beat 1 with one note approach. Let's not get too crazy here. Watch out for the new key. Oh, it's 3 note approaches. Of course, once you practice drilling like this and you do really slow tempos and you start changing your keys, you might go like, this is pretty boring. Yeah, I know. So you know what you do instead of just whatever. You can go. You guys like chromaticism? Cool, man. Learn a chromatic scale, plug in 3 chromatic notes. Whatever, it doesn't really matter. So long as the target is clear and we set it up in advance, that's really how we can use the process to make meaningful jazz lines. So the lines are not about building the lines. They're about where we're going, right? That's the secret. I shot a video for YouTube like a year ago, and the whole point was like, you're too late. If the chord hits and you're starting to think about that scale, you're too late. The whole point is to set up this as the destination. So people say, well, it's the journey, not the destination. Well, actually, it's true. In jazz lines, when I set up my destination, it takes me on a wonderful journey to know how I'm going to get there with my line. It's very poetic, but that's really the skills you need to develop. So drill, 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 which leads on to the next step. Yay, all right, step 5, confettis, good job. So this is the last point of the system. I'm going to make sure this is big on the screen so you see it. Don't force it. Okay, that's the whole point. How do I play? That's the title of the video. How do I improvise like a pros? The pros don't come in here and go, oh man, I gotta play every sharp 9 of every good line. No, they come in, they hear, and they have rehearsed enough, and they make sure that this training just kicks in. So it reminds me a lot of athletes. We say athletes playing a sport, when it comes time to perform and deliver, they don't think consciously of which muscles need to move and how to make the points and how to win. They just let their body execute. So we let the training kick in. So the more training you do, the more letting go you have to do, okay? This is pretty tough, but the whole point is to not force it, to maintain your backing track or your band or your looper at a steady tempo and just literally see what comes out. That's the whole secret, guys. That's the process. Okay, now recap. So we are done with this improv process. It's super simple in a nutshell. Simple, not easy, all right? So the recap is as follows. Step 1, establish your target notes. If you've never done this in your first round, I highly encourage you to target the third of each chord. You can do so on a 2-5-1 progression or any other progression that you like, that you want to improvise on. Step 2, add pickup notes. So you got your targets, move back a little bit, a few beats, to get to a point where a good standard hygiene for a jazz player would be 3 8-note pickup lines. You can approach them by from above, descending the scale, but as discussed, as this gets boring, and it will get boring because you will get better if you do what I say, you can approach with chromatic lines. You can say, I'm going to add a trill or frill, I'm going to add an arpeggio line. That's fine, that's all up to you, it's not a problem, so long as we have our targets and our pickup notes. And then I sort of jumped the gun. The third step is to embellish. Embellish with any device that you feel, that you hear, that's easy to play for you, so long as you are in time on your target notes. Okay? Step 4, drill, 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 drill. Drill so much that it becomes like unconscious. Think of it like an athlete. You're drilling for sport and you want to make this just part of your spirit. Yeah, you can always go back and shred on blues scales. You can shred the arpeggios. But if you want to make the change at this moment, let this be the technique that is your go-to, that's your safety net. And then step 5, it's easy to say, but it's hard to deliver, it's to let go. It's my step where I said don't force it. So end of the recap, don't force it. The less you force it, the easier it will be for you to just see and assess exactly where you are at with this process. When you are not sure and you can't really think of the target notes or you can play them in time, well, you can slow down. Or I realize a beautiful feature where you can just highlight 2 chords and have a loop and slow the tempo way down. Do it in keys that are easy. And then the not forcing it is really the true measuring stick. So that's the end of the recap for now. All right, guys, we're done with the recap. So if you need a hand doing any of this, as I said, it's easy to understand. It's pretty simple, but it's not easy to implement in your playing. I have a coaching program, and it's called the Jazz Guitar Accelerator. If you enjoyed this video, you're probably a good fit for it, especially if you have all these questions and you get it, but you'd like to have help to implement it. So I can just drop a quick line to tell you how it works. So I have created this document that's called How to Make Jazz Guitar Walk in the Park, which is for guitarists and lifelong lovers of music looking to finally crack the code for jazz. So this is an extensive no BS guide. There's all of the methods we talked about improv, proof with my students, how it works, and you can access this for free. Just check the lesson in the description. If you want to read it in Google Docs, there's a link right here. And then Google Docs, of course, allows you to have this outline at the left, which makes it easier to navigate. So if you're curious to see how it works, so you click on the How It Works section, it tells you exactly what we do in the accelerator, how we do it. And the best part is if you read this and it's like, yeah, that's me, I need help doing these things with my improv, you can just browse to the bottom of this and shoot a click for the schedule, and you can get on a one-on-one call with me, and then we can of course determine if this is a good fit for you. Please make sure to like and subscribe to get more free videos like this for resources on comping and on improvising and etc. Everything related to jazz guitar. There's hundreds of videos already on the channel for free. There's a link in the description that tells you exactly my step-by-step process that I went through myself and that I go through with my private students so they get amazing results. We're talking like 4x your skills within 90 days. It's out of this world. It's pretty crazy. So you can book a call in the description, and you can also go to the Jazz Guitar Fellowship, which is a group, a community with all the same materials and all the same hangouts as my private students, except it's a free group that's public for everybody. You can post your videos, you can hang out with my team, you can ask questions. A fantastic group. I will see you there and on the website, and take care, practice hard. Bye.